This week we are talking about the three elements of light. Now, whether you use a camera on your phone or a professional camera, all cameras manipulate these three elements to make photographs. Now, those people that are just happy to take a regular photograph and they have the camera in automatic mode, they're not going to care about these elements, but you do care about these elements because you want to make even better photographs. And you know that by manipulating these three elements, you're going to make incredible photographs. So we'll talk about each one of these elements on their own in later modules, but we're just going to give a broad overview of what these elements are. Now, the first one is ISO. And ISO is kind of the weird one, but it's the first one that you want to manipulate when you're taking a photograph because it's basically where and when you are taking a picture. That's what you're telling the camera when you're manipulating ISO. This is where I am. I'm outside, I'm inside. This is when I am taking this picture. It's daytime and there's full sun, or it's nighttime and there's no sun. I'm inside in a basement with one light on, or I'm upstairs in a room that's got a lot of natural light. It's the when and the where you are taking your picture. Now, if you don't set the ISO high enough, the picture is going to be way too dark. But if you set it too high, the picture is going to be what's called grainy, and you don't want that either. So you have to learn how to set the ISO depending on the conditions on which you're shooting. For a good rule of thumb, the lower the ISO, the better. As low as you can get away with, that's the best ISO to use. The second one is aperture. And aperture you can kind of think of as the who or the what you are taking pictures of, right? If you're taking a senior photograph, you want the senior's face to be in focus, right? Everything else does not matter. If you're taking a picture outside on a bridge, does the bridge matter? No. The bridge can be slightly out of focus, but the senior's face needs to be in focus. Aperture controls what's called depth of field. And we'll get into that when we cover the aperture module. But that depth of field dictates what is in focus and what is not in focus. On the other end of the spectrum, like a different photograph you would be taking at a basketball game, perhaps, and you want not only the action to be in focus and the players' faces to be in focus, but you want the crowd's reaction to be in focus, right? That's a wide depth of field versus a narrow depth of field in the senior's photograph. So that's what aperture is. If the depth of field is too narrow, only one thing is going to be in focus. If it's too wide, everything's going to be in focus. And we'll discuss why that's important when we get to the aperture module. The third one, the final one, is shutter speed. And shutter speed is probably the easiest one for you to understand. It controls how fast the shutter opens and closes on your camera. That controls how action is displayed. So basically, shutter speed is the how or the why you want action displayed in a certain way. Do you want a full range of motion? Like we mentioned a hummingbird's wings one time. Do you want the full range of motion of the hummingbird's wing? Or do you want just the nanosecond of the wing in focus so that you can see all the colors and it's in sharp focus? That's what shutter speed controls. How is motion displayed? Now, this week, the assignment is very simple to do. All we want you to do is take a picture of whatever you want, submit 2 photographs of whatever you want, inside, outside, daytime, nighttime. Just make sure it's in focus and it's well lit, whether it's around your house, where you work, where you go to school, whatever. Take a picture, submit 2 of them, take 2 pictures, submit them in the discussion board here, and also tell us why you thought this subject was interesting and what you like about the photograph. Good luck. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, and we'll see you next week.